Yes. Hi. Welcome to part 5 of the Luthier's Lair series detailing the project Lula build, the Gazzbass Jazz Bass. Yes. This episode, neck and body work, neck nearly finished of course, and the body will be getting sprayed with nitrocellulose. First the vinyl sealer and then the sonic blue, and we'll show some footage of that I think, and it's going to be pretty good. We're getting there, and there's going to be a big delay between part 5 and part 6 because I got to wait for the lacquer to dry before going any further. So let's go and get on with it. Beauty. Yeah, so now the neck is carved. Everything's sort of complete. It's just a case of doing a test fit without finish on it to make sure that everything's parallel and centred and all that stuff. That the strings are going to run centred to the fingerboard, the pickups and the bridge. So I'm going to go do all that, and it's beginning to look a bit like a jazz bass, right? So onwards and upwards, that's what we're going to do next. I think, maybe. Yes, so sorry about the extraction and stuff being on. It's a necessary evil. So I've bolted on the neck, I've bolted down the bridge, and I'm going to size up the string spacing right now. I've got all the saddles in the centre position on the bridge, and the nut, which is not fastened right now. This is the tricky part. It's like this is really kinda tricky. What I'll do is I get these two strings, just clamp the nut down manually, and then I take these two strings and I put them into the nut too, adjust the nut to where it should be, and I look at the string spacing, and as you can see, it's absolutely frickin' perfect. Everything is aligned. That means I can go ahead with confidence without altering these dimensions now. And the next step of course is prepping the whole thing to get a finish on it. Indeed. So you can see everything's looking great. The LEDs are living in the right place, and yeah, everything looks spectacular. Just above the G, since that's where I want the LEDs on this bass, just above the G string, my friend. So it actually reflects off the G, and you actually get a good index of where the frets actually are. So everything's looking stupendously good. The break angle with the carve in the neck is good, everything's good. So, on to the next. What would the next be? What would the next be? What would it be? Oh, halo, halo, halo. Well, I don't know. Let's get this bass prepped. First spray. Yes, well, it's time to actually, hold on, drink. Yeah, it's time to get the body prepared for finish. One of the things I've noticed here is there's a little bit of tear out, of course, from the scroll saw here on the F-hole. I can smooth most of it out, but there's a couple of voids in there that will need filled. I can't sand that down anymore. And of course, to get into awkward places, use an emery board. Yes, you know, I don't have any nails to file, but never mind. But yeah, a quick trip to the beauty store, and Lord knows I've tried, will remedy that situation, and these things are really good. You can find a lot of good little tools at the beauty store, you know, like fine snips and stuff like that. I mean, people use that for pruning, or preening, themselves, you know, manicures and stuff like that, when it could be used for a much more productive thing like Luthier, you know. Yes. And that's my take on it anyway. We'll just go around there, make sure everything's nice and smooth and even, and if there is little holes there, we'll just put a little bit of wood putty on the end of this, and we'll smear that on there, wait for it to dry and sand it down. It'll be smooth as a baby's buttock. So yeah, and do the same thing with all the cavities that I did. You know, this round hole here, ooh, what's that for? Well, that's for the LED switch. When the pick guard goes on, excuse me, like so, it's about there actually. Let's get this roughly right. Then that's where the LED switch goes, below the neck pickup, not in the way of the fingers. That's cool. So that's what we'll be doing. Just getting the body prepped and what's that? And ready for finishing. It's already been grain filled. I need to put a sealer on it, and then I'm going to coat it with probably 2 or 3 coats of white vinyl lacquer, which will give me an absolutely flat surface with which to work. I'll put the colour coat on, 4 or 5 coats of that, and then about 10 coats, 9 or 10 coats of clear lacquer on this. Probably 9, I'm thinking. Should be it. Okay, brilliant. Oops, don't do that. What's all this then, eh? What's all this then, eh? This blue tape crap. Yes, well, I've taped off the headstock here, the sides at least, where I don't want any stain, because I'm going to be staining this colonial maple. That will bring out the grain in the oak veneer that I have here, which has been grain filled and sealed. Well, it's been filled. I'm not going to seal it until after I put the stain on. And oh, I'm running out of colonial maple stain. Take my little cotton cloth here, just roll it up. I'll dab it in there. I'm going to do this. Ooh, ooh waka coo waka. And we'll just... People are saying, well, you're going to do the body sonic blue, why are you doing this colonial maple? Because I can. Right? Because it's fun. I already consulted with the customer, who I probably can reveal now is as my good friend and massive Gazzbass supporter, Laurent Quintana. Yes indeed. Laurent, I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Now, I've known you for a long time now and you've never told me how to pronounce your name properly. I always go off of Yves Saint Laurent, you know, so I always say Laurent. And Celine, if you're watching this video, back off. So, yeah, so I think this looks really nice actually. It's colonial maple. I've always liked this colour. I did the Falcon Series 2 Greta bass in this colour. Like it a lot. I like it a lot. So, you know, you don't need much. I'm just going to let that seep, sit in and dry. That'll do. Yeah. Just let it dry a bit. You'll see little bits and shiny bits and stuff like that. That'll go away. We'll let that dry in. Oops. Fill that bit there. We'll let that dry in a bit. Then we'll sand it with 400 grit. And then we'll maybe give it another coat. Maybe not. And then after that we're going to, because it's going to get a nitrocellulose clear coat on it, we're going to do the laser etching of the logos and the model name of the bass, which I do plan to put Lula on it, just for giggles, you know. The model name is actually the Gazzbass JB-T1. That's the usual model name I give my jazz basses. Gazzbass JB-T1, and this one in quotes will be Lula. Indeed. So it's looking nice, isn't it? Isn't it? Look, that's really came out really nice. So let's let this dry, and then I can go back to the body and finish the sanding of the F-hole that I filled earlier on, because there was some tear out due to the scroll saw, which was a bit of a bummer, but that's easy fix. Cool. So here's the neck for Lula, last thing done before I can start preparing it for finishing. Of course I have steamed the headstock already and it's almost dry. In fact, it is dry. I put in the dot markers, so just, you can buy these from Luthier stores, little dowels, 2mm dowels, and I just take the exact centre of each fret that the dowels are going to go into, except for this one, which is divided into 3, of course, and I drill a little 2mm hole, maybe about even 2 or 3mm deep just, and then use a tiny spot of wood glue on the ends and stick the dowels in. I use one dowel, stick it in, cut, stick, cut, stick, cut, and I get one length of dowels about yay size, and I get the whole neck done with one stick, which is really good. Now just to cut them sort of flush, it's dried now, so you just nip them off, because we don't want to be playing it when they're sticking up like that, because it'll hurt your hands. Okay? It's nice and level to the fingerboard. Going to be sanded anyway. Sanded flush anyway. Just nip them off. Nice and easy. Nice sharp pair of snips. And there you go. Et voila. Nice dot markers in where they should be. Now we just sand this down flush. It's still quite proud, that one. You can also use a razor. I don't go that far. I just like to sand them down nice and flush with a pencil eraser and some sandpaper, some fine sandpaper. That does the trick. And all the pencil marks that I did from measuring the centres will go away as well with that. So cool, let's get this flush. Yeah, there is one more thing to do. This has been grain filled, and I had to sand it back a little bit. So I'm going to put some sand and sealer on this now as well, just to make sure that I have a nice surface to apply clear to. So this is Crystal Lac water-based sanding sealer. Good stuff, like it. Just a little rag here. Soak some of that onto there and just spread it on. Doesn't need to be too even because we are going to sand it back. And try and get it as even as possible. You know, otherwise you're just creating work for yourself. A little bit more. And of course, with this being an oak veneer, I've got like 4 coats of grain filler, and I'll probably use 2 coats of sand and sealer on this. Okay, I think a nice wet bit of rag here and just smooth that out. You're going to get kind of what looks like brush strokes or streaks in it. With the rag, use a finer rag, fine, that's okay. But of course, you'll sand this back down and it will come out. And then another coat of sand and sealer, same thing, sand it back and it'll be all sealed and ready for finishing. Indeed. So that's it. This neck is almost ready to have its finished applied. This is maple. I'm going to seal the maple too, I think. Yeah, I'm going to seal the maple also. So I'm just doing the headstock first, get that out of the way, then I can concentrate on the rest. Tape off the fingerboard there. Put sealer on that. Then I'm going to sand that back, another coat, and it'll be ready for finishing. Once it's finished, of course, I'll be putting some boiled linseed oil on the neck and let that soak in, trap all the goodness in there, and then we'll fret it. So, let's keep going. Well, I just forgot that I was going to do some special laser engraving in this. I have my logo in the back of the headstock there. Just finished. Sooty and sweet. And the serial number, which was preordained, of course, depending on the schedule and stuff. And there we go, nicely in there. Before I do sand sealing on this, I'll wipe this down, of course, and then I'll put some sand and sealer on it, and then I'll put more on, and then I'll put more on, you know, just to make it nice and flat and smooth. It looks nice now. Awesome. Cool. Yes. Well, guess what happened? Oh no. Well, not oh no, not really. That is a coat of white vinyl sealer on the Lula base there. Actually, it's 2 coats. Coated it, hanging up there alongside my other projects there. Indeed, and as you can see, it's looking good, nice and even. And tomorrow that will be scuff sanded, and we'll start with the Sonic Blue, which I will put in shot there. I'll show you what brand I use because I'm allowed to do that. There it is. Yes, indeed. Colour tone Sonic Blue. Just pan up a bit across the base. Looking nice, very even coat. Gets a bit dusty and chalky, but there you go. There it is. And, of course, I'm starting to clear coat the headstock. It'll be all orange peely right now. I'm going to get polished up. Using a water-based poly for that. Bit better. Sorry about the neck blank there. Another project coming in. Ooh, I wonder what it could be. Well, I know what it's going to be. I think you'll like it. Yeah, I've just been working on my website actually. I completely scrapped it and started again from scratch, so there's not much up there right now. Just give it a more modern feel, but yeah. So, looking good. Tomorrow, that gets scuff sanded, and then it will get the beginnings of the Sonic Blue. I'll be doing 6 or 7 colour coats, very thin. Nitrocellulose lacquer colour coats and vintage Sonic Blue, Fender vintage Sonic Blue. Then after that happens, we'll be doing about 9 coats of clear. So, long way to go yet. Ich mochte dich nicht, du liebst dich nicht. Aha. Ich mochte dich nicht, du liebst dich nicht. Aha. Da, da, da. Dong, 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 da, da, da. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Ich mochte dich nicht, so lieb dich nicht. Aha. Sorry about that. Now I've got to wait. That's it for part 5. Yeah. These are always the hardest times in projects, is waiting on one. But while you're doing one, you're doing another and another and another. So things keep busy. Oh, like the haircut, by the way. Good haircut, eh? So that's it, end of part 5. In part 6 we'll be starting to buff and polish the body and the neck and stuff. Then we'll start to get all the electronics installed and everything installed. The first proper assembly. So that'll be good. But that's going to be in about maybe 3 weeks to a month. So anyway, until then, I'll have some other projects that I'll be filming for your delectation. And as usual, stay safe, be good, and catch you next time. Cheers, folks. Bye-bye.